Welcome to the Hired Not Fired podcast, brought to you by The Real Me, the soft skills first talent solution that helps employers hire entry-level employees with better developed soft skills, such as communication, problem solving, or emotional intelligence. Join us as we sit down with hiring managers, talent leaders, and others and get insider tips to help Gen Z stand out and get hired. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the new episode of Hired Not Fired. And I am thrilled to bring back Jon Schlesinger from Brandeis University to talk more about how your campus career center can help you get the job you want. Jon is the executive director of the Hiatt Career Center at Brandeis, where he has led the implementation of an innovative career development program that supports students. He holds a master's in counseling from DePaul University with a focus on community mental health and college student development. Welcome back, Jon.
Thanks for having me.
Let's talk a little bit more about soft skills. You talked about communication, how important that is, adaptability, curiosity, problem solving. I would like to hear, what are you hearing from the companies that come to campus to recruit? What are you hearing directly from them about the skills they struggle to find?
So you mentioned we're that connection point between students and employers. So we bring students to campus and we hear from them. We also connect and look at industry data locally and nationally. We also look at employers' interests by industry. And so one of the things that we can see there are specific kinds of software that employers are looking at that they would like students to have. But we're also seeing things like project management, detail-oriented work come in. And the other big one that we've seen is AI literacy, as you were mentioning. So that's the next growing area that employers are looking for students to have some familiarity with.
Yeah, I think that's a huge topic that we're just going to hear more and more of as the, weeks come on. I mean, the landscape is changing so rapidly. What was true last month almost is shifting, right? The only thing we can count on is change. So, what has AI changed from what you can see? What do they expect from early career candidates? You mentioned just now attention to detail. What else specifically related to AI?
So first of all, there's an AI myth going around that students' applications are just being read by an AI machine and then spit into one pile or another. What we're hearing from employers is even if they're using AI to review materials, there's always an employer at the end of the line who's making a decision on who to hire. That being said, the expectation for application materials has been increasing. Because of tools like AI and ChatGPT and all of the rest, employers are expecting really high quality application materials. And so tailoring your application materials, making sure that it is specific to that company, to that role, is what helps the students stand out from those other applications.
Yeah, that's something that we do hear many of the guests on the show have said. Yes, we may use an ATS, but I read every single, I go through every single application. But what about these AI generated resumes or cover letters, if anyone uses them anymore? Are we at risk of having everyone sound the same?
A little bit. If you read resumes or cover letters for a living, you start to pick out patterns even before AI cover letters came about. And one of the things that anyone will tell you is that it's really easy to spot a generic cover letter. Mm-hmm. And so students that tailor their application materials, that prepare, that know the company, that know the role, that really can come through in the application materials. And that's what can make or break an application.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're going back to what you mentioned last time you were here, research, preparing, right?
Yes.
Do you have any insider information from what employer partners are telling you they wish students understood before they apply that we haven't discussed yet?
I think the biggest one is they're looking for that passion. They're looking for that interest in that role, that company, that field, right? If I'm looking at two candidates and they have equal skills and abilities on paper, I'm looking at who's going to be a good employee. Who am I going to bring in that's going to create some positive change and positive impact in my organization?
So yeah, that's something we hear from the hiring managers, the TA leaders that come in. They're looking for passion. They're looking for someone who wants to not get a job, but get a job at their company, right?
Yes.
Some of these companies are getting hundreds, if not thousands, of applications for their entry-level positions. How can an applicant stand out and get to the interview stage, right? Because in the interview stage, it's easier to let your personality shine through and to show that passion. How do you get there from just the resume?
The easy answer is to start with networking. And I know that sounds easy and it's a lot harder than that sounds, right? But your career center has career fairs. We bring employers to campus. We create opportunities for you to meet and network with them. You are part of an alumni association that is much, much larger than you realize. And so the depth and breadth of where you have connections is always greater. Most people don't come to school with a built-in network of folks working in the industry or area they want to go into. Most everyone needs to build and create their network. But what I hear from employers is when they have an opportunity to meet with somebody at a career fair, at a networking event, even if they're not hiring at that specific moment, it makes all the difference later on in the job search process.
So that's probably one of the most important things for people to take away from this is, if you do want to get to that interview stage, if you're applying for a job where there's going to be a lot of competition, a lot of other resumes, get out there, meet them in person. You can do this at career fairs, or you could do this at these events. I forgot what you call them, career treks, where you're bringing
Career
the
trek.
students to the companies themselves.
Yeah.
And alumni network. That's such a great idea. Every school has a network of alumni that they tend to be willing and happy to help. And I speak from experience because I know that I was just at an alumni event meeting undergrads. Those are really powerful pieces of advice for how to get to that, to get noticed when, and not just be one of a big pile of resumes. Going back to strategies and habits or skills that help them stand out, is there anything else that we haven't covered that you think is important?
We talked a little bit about showing interest and tailoring experiences, but the other point that I want to make is employers are pressed for time. You don't want them to hunt for information in your resume, in your cover letter. You really want to spell out specifically the connection between your experience and their role. Make it abundantly clear where those connections are and why you're interested. That really helps people stand out.
Wonderful. Do you have any other piece of advice? How about let's finish it off with one practical, no excuses step that a student can take this week to improve their career readiness?
I'll give you one and a bonus one.
Okay.
Here's the first one. Find 5 people and expand your network. Use LinkedIn. If you're a Handshake school, which many, many students are, you can use Handshake to identify students and alumni from your program that are working in places you want to go. The bonus one is find an online training, certification, program that you can take that's going to help start to give you specialized skills in your area of interest. Going above and beyond is another way to stand out in your application materials and in your conversations with employers.
I love it. Those are 2 valuable pieces of advice, and I am so excited for those of you listening. Act on it. This is inside information, and use your college career centers to help you with your career search. Thank you, Jon, very much.
Thank you.
And have a wonderful new year.
Thanks for having me.